Noah here, and in this video I'm going to show you Mastery of Sunwuko's set dungeon in hardcore mode. For those of you who don't know, the set dungeons are a new feature added in patch 2.4, and you must be wearing the entire set or 5 pieces of the set plus the royal ring in order to get the dungeon to activate. The Sunwuko's dungeon is located in the pinnacle of heaven right before you would go in and kill Diablo. So here is the set dungeon, and it will show you when you click on it the objectives you need to complete. Now you can just complete the primary objectives in order to complete the dungeon for the season's journey. However, to master the dungeon, you must do all of the objectives within the time limit. So here I'll show you real quick the path I took around the dungeon. Every time you load up the dungeon, it will look exactly the same. However, the monsters spawn randomly. So to complete the mastery of this, where you must kill all of the monsters, it's important to check every space as efficiently as possible. So this is the route I took. I went in straight into the large room, and I kind of did a circle around the large room so I wouldn't have to double back. And instead of doing a figure 8, I then went around the outside. So one of your objectives is to keep your sweeping wind up the entire time. Having the belt that allows you to have 10 stacks is really helpful with this. However, I did learn that if you let it run out, it doesn't tick down the stacks, it just simply ends. So when you are spawning your clone section, it is important to keep doing some punches just so that you can make sure your sweeping wind stays up all of the time. And then once you pretty much think you've gotten all of your punches, you can just kill everything with Wave of Light. The larger single targets like the angels and the giant big guys, I don't remember their name, I would just hit with Wave of Light, because it's best to get your clone achievement done with the big packs of the little crawly guys, and you only need 5 of them, and that's not hard to do. It's pretty easy to find enough packs. I like to get that done kind of right at the beginning of the dungeon so that I don't have to keep worrying about it, and it won't slow me down having to punch and make sure my clothes hit everything. I can just then go straight for the kills. So here, as you can see, I'm kind of making my way around that entire big room. I did try a figure 8 the first couple times I tried it, but it was really hard to find all the monsters that way and still get it done in time. I found the most efficient way was to circle that big room completely so I didn't have to go back to it and then work my way around the outside. I am also using the dashing strike that gives you a little bit of a speed boost. That also helps with the speed portion of the dungeon. I of course have max movement speed because you do have some periods where there are no monsters to fight and you just want to get through as quickly as possible, because to master the dungeon the time is pretty short.
It cannot be done.
And here I'm just checking the little nooks because, you know, even that one silly angel, if it gets left behind, because you really do have to only go through the whole thing once to make the time, and you have to get every single monster, and it took me several tries to do that. Also, you can use your dashing strike to help you get the clone portion of the quest, because sometimes you get stuck on one small pack. Your clone may only hit, you know, a handful of the enemies around, but you could dash to another area of the pack to make sure they all get hit with the clone. As far as gearing goes for completing the dungeon, you don't have to have optimal gear in order to complete this dungeon. I'm not even at the point where I'm thinking about challenging leaderboards. There are a couple key pieces that you need to have. For example, you need the entire Sunwuko set. Also, since I'm going with a Wave of Light build, I found the bracers and the Wave of Light fist weapon to be very helpful. The Sweeping Wind belt and the Sweeping Wind fist weapon were also very helpful for keeping the sweeping wind up for the duration of the dungeon. So I will go ahead, and I'm not going to go over all the pieces in this video because I'd like to do an extensive guide later, but I will put a link down in the description with all of the pieces that I use and the skills that I use so you can reference it. It's also important to note that when you load up the dungeon, it says that if a character dies within the dungeon, you will simply fail the dungeon, that you will not actually lose your character, which is important for hardcore. Now, I did not die when I was attempting this, so I can't tell you for a fact that it's true, but that is indeed what it tells you.
You are defeated.
Just a few more, and there it is, the mastery of the dungeon, completing all of the objectives. Thanks for watching this video. I hope to have a build guide up for my Sunwuko's Wave of Light monk up soon. And so if you like what you see here, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter, and I will catch you next time.